Welcome to week 2 of our high school flag football plays and officiating analysis. There's 10 plays today on a variety of different topics. Just a reminder that these plays and analysis use the new NFHS flag football rules and 3-person mechanics. These plays are from the state of North Carolina. Please double check with your state and your local assigners to make sure that there's no rules or mechanics changes for the games that you work. Now, let's get into it. On this play, we're going to focus on the runner as she is getting her flag pulled. Let's see if we agree with the contact foul on the runner at the end of the play. All right, so our foul on the field is an illegal contact foul on the offense. And we'll take a look, back it up, and see what this contact looks like. So we have the runner running a sweep to the outside. Got a few defenders looking to pull flags. We get a nice spin move there, kept their arms up. No flag guarding, nice job. And then this contact at the end is what we are looking at. So we have a defender that is in position to attempt to make a flag pull, and our runner really appears to just kind of bowl straight through her. And then we get a flag from our back judge. So backing it up one more time. Again, we are looking for who is initiating contact. And we know we're going to have some contact around the flagpoles. But we're looking for excessive contact, and I think we clearly have that here as our runner really goes straight through the torso of our defender. Again, you sort of think about it like legal guarding position in basketball when we come to contact here. Our defender here is in a perfectly legal position to pull the flag. The offensive player must make an effort to go around the defender and not create this contact. The contact goes straight through the defender. It is clearly enough contact for a foul, and we get a good flag here by our back judge for illegal contact on the offense. That would be a live ball foul if we judge that contact occurred before the flagpole, and we would go 10 yards back from the spot of the foul. Contact is naturally a part of flag football, especially at the points where the flag is getting pulled. Now, these are tough calls for us. Let's take a look at the end of this play, right where the flag pull occurs. Let's talk about whether or not we should have a personal foul for illegal contact. All right, so we clearly have contact here on the flagpole, and we are going to have contact on every flagpole, right? You're literally reaching out and contacting the opponent to pull their flag. Now, we're looking for excessive contact when we're judging whether or not this should be a personal foul. And just because a runner goes to the ground does not mean we necessarily have excessive contact. We are looking for a shove, a hold that sends them to the ground. But oftentimes, either feet are just going to get tangled, the runner's off balance and goes to the ground. And those do not warrant a flag. I like the no call here. It's certainly a judgment call, but I see hands going to the belt of the offensive player. We'll play it one more time. So right about here, there's hands from the defender going to the belt of the offensive player. Both the defender and the offensive player are in legal positions. There is some incidental contact here. The runner ends up going to the ground, but I don't see anything excessive here. I think this is a good no call. Let's take a look at the blocking by the snapper on this play. So after the snap, watch the snapper and let's see if this contact is legal. All right, so we get a call here for legal contact, legal blocking on the offense, and it's a pretty good call from our line judge. If we back it up and we'll play it through here, you will see that our snapper initially gets in pretty good position, but as the defender moves to the defender's right, blocker's left, so right here, we look like we're in a good spot, right? Within the frame of our body, it seems. We're in between the defender and the ball. But watch the movement right about here. So our defender is now trying to move to the right around the blocker. And our blocker is just continuing to press forward on this defender, initiating contact and then continuing the contact there from the side. And we have a second blocker that may or may not be legal as well. So we get a good flag here from our line judge. Remember, as far as our mechanics go, that initial rush, so blockers on the line of scrimmage, near the line of scrimmage, that initial rush, the line judge should be pausing to watch that initial potential contact and then moving downfield. We did a good job of picking this up at the line judge position for an illegal block on the offense. Contact calls, especially while blocking, are some of the most difficult calls for us to make as referees in flag football. Let's take a look at this crash play. It's going to occur right by the quarterback in the backfield on the same side as the referee. All right, so let's back it up and take a look at this play. We do get a flag on the ground by the referee. All right, so once again, in our three-person mechanics, the line judge is going to watch this initial rush, right? That's just the initial wave of rushers and blockers. Now, on this play, the block actually comes from the running back, and we're at least a couple yards into the backfield. This is a referee play. So the referee is really the only person on the field that's going to get a look at this. All right. So when it comes to our screen blocking principles, so we have a couple pieces. One is that our screen blocker must stay within the frame of their body, right? So if they extend out a knee, a hip, an elbow, a foot, anything into a defender and create contact, the onus for that contact would be on the offensive screen blocker. So that's one piece. Now we know that screen blockers can move. They can legally move as long as they are not moving into the opponent and creating contact. So we're looking for who is initiating the contact here. Is it on the screen blocker? Is it on the defender? Now, we are going to have some incidental contact when it comes to blocking, but I think as we see this crash again, both players go to the ground. We clearly have enough impact here for a foul. All right, so we'll back it up one more time. We'll slow it down here. All right, so let's take a look at our blocker. So we have a running back that has a play action and now is going to become a blocker. All right, so at this point, we have our defender that appears to be trying to go towards the quarterback and really to the right around this blocker as their path to the quarterback. Obviously, the running back here is going to try to get in position in front of the blocker. All right, so we can see that our blocker here has the right foot on the ground, and we'll watch their movement. We are looking for the movement of the screen blocker here. I'm going to go slowly, slowly, slowly. All right. So the question is this screen blocker moving towards the defender and initiating contact when contact occurs? And I think when you slow it down, what you'll see is that right about here, we've got a right foot on the ground, and it looks even at this point that the defender has a path around the blocker to the quarterback. But as the defender gets closer, you're going to see the blocker step to her left, and that's what initiates contact. So even though some of this contact does go to the torso of the blocker is moving into the defender, and this is likely an offensive foul. And that is the call on the field. So again, watch it in full speed. We have the blocker moving to her left into the defender. She is not in a she's not in a legal position. Doesn't necessarily have to be set, but when contact occurs, she is moving into the defender, and therefore we get illegal contact on the offense. On this play, we're going to focus on the snapper. So at this point, we have hands on the football by the snapper, and let's take a look at what she does prior to the snap. So we see the snapper picks the ball up off of the ground, kind of pauses for a second, and then sets it back down. And we get a flag from our referee. So we go to Rule 7. That's talking about snapping, handling, and passing the ball. 713 says, following the ready for play and after touching the ball, the snapper shall not A, remove both hands from the ball, B, make any movement that simulates a snap, C, fail to clearly pause before the snap, and D, following adjustment, lift or move the ball other than a legal snap. So clearly here, our snapper picks the ball up and puts it back down. That is a snap infraction or a legal snap. It's a dead ball penalty. Good get from our referee. This is one we'd like our line judge to pick up since our line judge is staring down at the line of scrimmage and neutral zone. But we get a good flag here. Now, questions have come up on whether the ball can be moved at all by the snapper, right? Clear. So let's say that instead of picking the ball up off the ground and putting it back down, maybe the snapper has their hand on the ball and is turning it slightly, back and forth one way or another. Generally, by rule, that will not rise to the level of a snap infraction unless it is a movement that is simulating the snap, right? The philosophy here is that the snappers should not be making movements that cause the defense to encroach or jump, right? So just moving it back and forth a little bit, twisting it side to side a little bit, shouldn't rise to that level. But if that movement was to cause the defense to encroach, then we potentially could have an illegal snap. You are going to see the ball get moved a little bit more here in flag football, especially when our snappers often are snapping from the side and looking back at the quarterback. There's not quite as much of an advantage here in flag football than you might have in tackle. Just a reminder here on positioning for our referee. In a three-person crew for flag football operates a little differently than our referee positioning in tackle football. So we are not worried about whether the quarterback is right-handed or left-handed. We are always going to be on the same side of the field as the back judge. So you can see here our referee is backing out to their initial position, and we're on the same side of the field as the line judge. Our referee should be on the opposite side, and it is important for us because the referee has responsibility for this sideline up until the line of scrimmage. Then the back judge takes over. So with our positioning here, if our quarterback was to scramble out to her left and threaten this sideline, we would have a pretty big issue trying to cover this sideline back behind the line of scrimmage. So referees, just remember, you are always on the same side of the field as the back judge, which means you're always just going to be on the same side of the field throughout the game. You'll never switch to the opposite side. And we'll get a pass play here. All right. So we get a pass play and we get a deflag. The runner goes to the ground after the catch. I don't see any excessive contact here. This is a good no call. Our line judge comes and gets the spot. One thing to note is you can see the red line here. I'm guessing that's the 20-yard line. That is our first down line. That's the zone to gain. So when we have close plays around the zone to gain, whether we have a first down or whether they're short, as the covering official, which is usually the line judge, we want to come up and sell that call. right? So if they break the plane of the line, we have a first down. So we want to come up and sell first down, first down, first down. Or if they're short, we want to yell short, short. It doesn't matter as much here on the first down play, but especially when we get to third and fourth down, those lines matter a lot, and we need to sell those calls to build that confidence in our officiating. Let's look at the back judge positioning on this play. So we're going to see our back judge here in the three-person crew. Our initial positioning is we want to be about 20 yards deep into the backfield, but we need to make sure we are starting behind the deepest defender. All right, so here, judging based on where the ball's at, we're maybe 13, 14 yards deep, and we're in front of this last defender. So, especially when you get these deep safety looks, which you'll see often, we want to start behind the deepest, and our goal is to not get beat deep, keep all the players in front of us. So, we'd love to see the back judge starting behind this defender. Now, let's watch as the play develops. All right, so we have two deep receivers on the back judge side here. Those receivers are the primary responsibility of our back judge. And again, our goal is to not get beat deep. So starting deeper will help us get in a better position here. But when we have receivers that are going deep, we need to get on our horse and make sure that we are in a position to see the space in between players. And then we are also in a position to beat them to the goal line, right? So in this case, we'd love to have our back judge start deeper. And then also when we see there are receivers going deep, we need to get on our horse and move backwards and stay in a position to officiate. So we need a little more hustle here from our back judge moving deep with the players. Let's take a look at back judge positioning and mechanics on this play. So pre-snap here, our back judge is starting about 5 yards or so onto the field and is deeper than the deepest defensive back. We are in a good spot here in a three-person crew for our back judge pre-snap. Now we know that back judge is kind of awkward here in a three-person crew because you do have the responsibilities of a traditional back judge where you're responsible for deep passing routes, getting to the goal line, but you also, in a three-person crew, are responsible for this sideline. So it's important for us to get sideline oriented anytime it is threatened. Because past the line of scrimmage, the back judge has responsibility for the sideline on their side. Now we'll go forward a little bit on this play. Now, at the snap, we know our keys as the back judge is we are looking for receivers, going medium to deep down the field, right? And we also are peeking into the backfield to try and read if this is a pass play or a run play. If it is a run, we want to close in and really maybe even take a few steps toward the line of scrimmage to help. Because we can help with flag guards, especially on the side of their body opposite the line judge. We can help with legal blocking downfield. So we want to try and help out as much as possible on a run while also getting to that sideline in case the runner threatens it. On a passing play, we are trying to get in the best position possible to see the space in between the receiver and the defensive back, right? We're looking for pass interference, holding, those sorts of things on the catch. But also, again, we have to remember we have this sideline. So if a receiver is threatening this sideline, we want to go ahead and widen out and make sure that we are wider than the receiver that's threatening it. So as we'll see on this play, our receiver catches the ball, a few yards off of the sideline. And because of our positioning at this point, our back judge has to turn their back to the middle of the field. And now we're kind of caught in the middle. So as we see these plays, these routes develop, and we have a receiver that especially is going deep downfield and is, within a few yards of the sideline, love to see our back judge roll to the sideline. And that will help you to get a better view in between the players, but also will help you to be sideline oriented if the runner threatens it, right? Because what ends up happening on this play is we have the runner that is now in between our back judge and the sideline. So if the runner stepped out right here, I don't think she does, but if she stepped out right here, our back judge probably has not much of a look at it, right? And now we're kind of caught up in the middle of the play. Now I will say our back judge is hustling. I mean, absolutely hustling. So good work on that. But we'd love to, instead of being in the middle of the field here, we'd love to be sideline oriented. So as this play is developing here, if we can curl to the sideline, we then are having a view in between these players. If we were to say standing where the coach is, have a view in between these players on the catch. And then as the runner goes downfield, we would be on the outside along the sideline to view her potentially stepping out of bounds, but also gets us out of the kind of the riffraff of being in the middle of the blockers and such. On this play, we will look at goal line mechanics. It's imperative for us, especially in a three-person crew, to understand which official is responsible for which line. All right, so here we are. It's tough to tell, but we're at about the 4-yard line going in. All right, so we're 4 yards from the end zone. Inside the 10-yard line, we move into our goal line mechanics. That means that our line judge at the snap is going to move to the goal line because that goal line is the most important line on the field. We need to make sure that we have coverage. Our back judge is going to start on the end line. All right, so it looks like we are in goal line mechanics. Back judge is on the end line. And our line judge, you'll see at the snap, is going to move towards the goal line. Nothing changes for our referee. All right. So we get a run and we get a close call here at the goal line. I mean, no way for us to tell with this angle whether or not the flag was pulled before the ball crossed the line. So our line judge, though, is in a great position right on the goal line, beats the ball there, and is in the perfect position to see that play. Nice work here by our crew. A couple quick little notes. One would be for our line judge. When we give that touchdown signal, we don't need to turn towards the scoreboard here. The press box. We don't need to turn towards the press box after giving this touchdown signal. So right there, we've turned. Now we are not watching the players anymore, right? And we need to keep eyes on players even during the dead ball period. This is the point in time we might have, an excessive celebration, taunting. Anytime we have players from opposite teams in close proximity, we need to make sure we have eyes on them. So good touchdown call, but then just keep eyes on players. For our back judge, we're starting to close in. We have eyes on players. That's good. We don't necessarily need to mirror that touchdown signal as the back judge since it's not your line that it's threatening. We want to get out of that habit just in case we end up with a touchdown signal at the back judge and a short call for the line judge. But otherwise, great job on this play. On this play, we have a roughing the passer penalty, and you'll actually see the flag come from our line judge. So let's talk about our mechanics when it comes to responsibility in the backfield. In a three-person crew, we have our line judge on the sideline. On the opposite side, we have our referee 7 yards back, 7 yards wide from the quarterback. Now, at the snap, our line judge has responsibility for the rush all the way across the field, right? So that initial rush, that initial wave of defenders and blockers along the line of scrimmage. Once that initial rush passes, line judges, we should start to make our way a few yards downfield and shifting our focus to short passing routes and potentially receivers on passing routes down our sideline. Right, that's on a pass play, which we have here. Our referee has responsibility for everything in the backfield, so that any blockers and the quarterback in the backfield. So let's take a look at what happens on this play. All right, so we have a short incompletion that is threatening the line judge's sideline, and you'll see that we get a flag from our line judge, which ends up being a roughing the passer call. We don't have a flag from our referee. So let's talk about the coverage, and then we'll talk about the contact on the call. So again, we have a short pass play here that threatens the line judge's sideline. And this is a line judge play, right? Where this ball ends up. It's right along the line judge's sideline. We're 5 to 10 yards downfield. So this is the challenge of getting caught looking in the backfield. Is our responsibility as a line judge really once that initial rush happens, we should be getting a few yards downfield in a position to see this action. Now, I don't think we have any fouls here or anything. It's a simple incomplete pass. But this would be line judge's responsibility of watching this action. So we do instead, we get a call in the backfield. So, maybe we see it out of the corner of our eye and so forth. But really, this is a referee play when it comes to roughing the passer. Now, if we have an obvious call that we absolutely have to get, I don't care who throws the flag on the field. We need to get obvious calls. Let's take a look at this contact and see if we potentially if we categorize this as an obvious roughing the passer here. All right. So our defender is coming trying to sack the quarterback. And it looks like the defender kind of slips and ends up going into the quarterback, right? So we do certainly have some contact here. And the quarterback goes to the ground, defender goes to the ground. All right. So when we talk about roughing the passer, now we have to allow for a little bit of contact on the passer if the defender's trying to go for the flags, right? Just like anywhere else on the field. If a defender is trying to go for the flags and making an attempt to go for the flags while the quarterback has the ball, there's going to be a little bit of contact there, right? It's expected. Once the ball is gone and clearly gone, we can't have contact on the quarterback, and we certainly can't have excessive contact. So let's watch this contact one more time here. All right. So we get a slip from our defender, goes into the quarterback. Now, I am completely fine with a roughing the passer call here, right? The defender continues to move in, even though they kind of slipped, they still knock the quarterback to the ground. Completely good with the roughing the passer call here. But the challenge is right now we can see where our line judge's hat is pointed, and our line judge's hat is pointed back, looks like, towards the backfield and not towards our receivers that are threatening his sideline, right? So again, I'm okay with this call. I'd love the referee to have the flag, but as a line judge, we need to make sure that we are keeping eyes on our primary responsibility. Because had we had an obvious, pass interference here, some sort of foul that took place here, close catch, no catch, it would have been tougher for us to see. Thank you for watching this week's plays. It's a huge help if you could like, subscribe, or comment on the channel. That helps us share this information with more and more officials. Have a great week of games.